So we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through and as all creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. That's Ernest Holmes. That is the first introductory principle to the core principles that are what we believe. And it's the only one I've memorized. Reverend Susie Shadle memorized the whole thing. And when she would do people's ordination, she would stand up there and say the whole entire thing from memory. And I was always in awe. I'm still at one, and I'm in awe that I can do that. But we're talking about the living Spirit, and the reason I wanted to start with that because the manifest universe, that's us, by the way, is the body of God. And I want to talk about that because Ernest Holmes says that you can't heal or help anyone until you heal and help yourself. And as we go into this holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah season, we get to spend time with a lot of people, some that we love very, very dearly, and yet know exactly how to make us go back and behave like we're three. Or at least I have people in my life like that. Maybe you don't. Talk to me after service. I want to spend Christmas with you. So it's just to know, and it's a practice. And you know, West said to me, are you going to read from the book? And actually, I just wanted to talk about some of the practices that we have this month that have been gifted to us so that we can walk through this time knowing that we're God-informed, and so is everybody else. Because we do forget that we are the living Spirit. That's who we are. And on a day-to-day basis, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not at 100%. Some days I'm at 98. Some days I'm at 9. It just depends. It's a practice. And so the first thing is don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect. Oh my goodness, I said something mean to somebody. Well, then apologize if you did. Or make amends somehow. But don't carry it around. The brilliant thing that this philosophy taught me is that every moment is brand new. Not every day, not every week, not every month. Every moment is brand new. And so if I stay in the now, even if I did something that I'm not proud of just a moment ago, I have an opportunity not only to correct that, but to be different in this moment. And when we start living like that, we create heaven on earth. So I know most of you got this book, and I know some of you have taken it home and put it somewhere, and you may not even know where. And that's okay. However, there are brilliant practices in here. And if you don't want to do the practices, there are brilliant readings in here that you could just read and put down. I promise you, the fact that you've read them, they will stay with you. The really brilliant thing is on, and I think Cynthia took me, I forget when she finally pointed it out on the call. I never would have found it. Because at the bottom of this page where you can make notes, there's something in really light print that you have to look for to see. And so we do a morning call. And so there's this. We were gifted an Advent calendar online, 31 days. Of New Thought Advent calendar that I post on Genesis Family every single morning. And Brian Akers and his wife Kim, who's a minister back in Maryland, created it. And these are the things that people gift us, that it's an opportunity for us to say, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to unwrap it, and I'm going to see how it changes my life. Because here's the deal. If your life is stuck somewhere and you're thinking, boy, I wish that would shift, but I'm not going to change, I will promise you it won't shift. part of the engagement is we have to change. It's that Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing day after day after day and thinking one of these days something's going to change. It won't. You have to be engaged. You have to be willing to do something different. And it doesn't have to be big or grandiose. It can be small. It can be today, I'm going to say good morning or hello to every person I meet. Whether I know them or not, I'm going to look at them and acknowledge they're walking the planet with me. I am challenging myself for the month of December to only post nice things on Facebook. Wasn't that funny, was it? It's not that hard, I hope. For me, it's a little bit easier because I stepped way off the ledge one time with a personal friend. He posted something on my Facebook page and I posted something back, and then I went to a meeting and I thought, everybody on Facebook can see that and you're a minister, you need to take that down. The meeting was an hour and a half long. So it got to sit up there for an hour and a half before I deleted it and apologized profusely to him for something that I said that in the moment I thought was funny and then thought, not so much. And so we can get hooked. And so when I shared earlier about being kind on Facebook, I posted something on Facebook and somebody posted something that was intended to be unkind. Nobody else would have picked up on it except me. But I picked up on it because it was directed at me. And I sat with it for a minute and I thought, do not give this person power. Do not give this person power. You know, I wanted to write back, and because I found this beautiful photo that said, never take anything personally. What others say about you is not about you, it's about them. And then I thought, and then what have you done? You've engaged. And if you engage, guess who wins? Not you. Not you. And so what I did instead was I thought, if this was a relationship, if it wasn't social media, if this was a relationship I was having with somebody, and I have been in physical abusive relationships in my life, what would you do? You'd sever the relationship, you'd bless them, and then you would delete all contact with them. And so that's what I did. I said, you know, blessings on your journey, and I unfriended them, and then I blocked them. And some of you might think, well, that's not very ministerial. Yes, it is. That's boundaries. And that's what we forget about, is boundaries. You know, you can be loving and heartfelt and still have boundaries. You know, you're God-informed. You deserve to be treated with respect, just like everybody else does. And if people are going to abuse you, it doesn't mean they're not God-informed. It means that they don't recognize their self-worth. And don't let them throw up on you because they don't recognize their self-worth. You can love them and bless them. And you know, Heather had shared that she's doing Ho'oponopono, which I think is brilliant. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you say it not to change the person. You change it to change your consciousness around how you're holding that person in your mind. Because what I realize and how this philosophy works, if somebody says that to me and it's got a charge, I'm holding that person in my mind to be my abuser, and there's a belief that I have of what they said is true. And so I had to sit with, do I believe that's true? And went back through why she's holding me there and thought, no, I don't. And then do Ho'oponopono to clear my consciousness. Because that's all the work. Our work is clearing our consciousness. Our work is to be the best we can be. And then vibrationally, we build communities like this. And that goes out into the world. And what happens is, I promise you, people start to change. And you may not see it. Maybe not even in your lifetime. However, the kinder you are, I promise you, that vibrationally, people are going to feel that. People you may never meet. It was interesting. I heard a story, and this is back to the social media. Last night I was at dinner at a friend's house, and she shared a story that they did a practice with a group of teenagers and took away all their social media, took away their cell phones, 7 days. I know. That's what we said, and we're not teenagers. We're like, what? 7 days? Are you kidding? 7 days. And then they interviewed them afterwards. How was it? Well, it was good. I didn't fight with my parents as much. I actually had conversations with people because I couldn't text them. It felt really good. Give me my cell phone back. It felt good. I guess it didn't feel that good. And yet I think there is a part of us that forgets about that human connection. And I think that is our soul calling out and why we come together in community. Because I do, I guess I shouldn't say we, I need that human touch. I need to have conversations with people where, email to me is somebody could write me something, and because I read every other word, I don't know why, I just do. And if it kind of gets me charged up and I go back and read the email, it's like, well, that's not what they said at all. When I read every word. However, there was a time in my life I read every other word and I'd respond because, that's what I would do at that time in my life. And so the thing about email is if you want to have a serious conversation with somebody about a relationship or about a hurt or something, please don't email them or text them or post it on Facebook. Call them up. Let's get back to that humanness of why we're here. Technology is fabulous, don't get me wrong. I grew up in the Bell system. I started there when I was 18 and I retired way after that. Way after that. And so it's wonderful, and it's got a lot of gifts it gives us. And I think sometimes we use it as a shield. It's easy to sit at home and be cruel to somebody on Facebook instead of calling them up and saying, when you did this, it really hurt me, and I'm still hurt, and I'm angry with you. Can we talk about it? That's what we forget. We are living spirit. If we could remind ourselves in every moment of every day, seriously, is this how God would behave? Really? Because you have to ask yourself, if we're God informed, and that's what we believe here, everybody, everything is God informed. It's a matter of, do they remember or do they feel separate? And if we're coming here, we remember. And so in remembering, then we make that connection. And my expectation of myself is I should behave better. As my mother used to say, you know better. I didn't like it when she said that. And I don't like it when I say it to myself now. However, I so believe in what we teach here that I am dumbfounded sometimes by my behavior and my thoughts. And I know it's human, so I try not to beat me up. And still, it's learning how to be kind, not only to those around you, but as Ernest Holmes said, you need to do it with yourself first. With yourself first. Otherwise, what you're doing with everybody else isn't really kind. And that, he had a whole paragraph written out about that, and I thought, and it's in the Science of Mind textbook on page 435, but I was like, I don't even think I understand what he's trying to tell me. Except that the basis is heal thyself. The great Jewish prophet Jesus said, you are the light of the world. He did not say you are the light of the world after you clean your house. He didn't say you are the light of the world after you work hard and suffer. That is not what he said. He said you are the light of the world. Wow. Each and every one of you. The light of the world. Scary, isn't it? Y'all got really quiet, like, seriously, me? I'm the light of the world? Yes. And so to live from that, to really own who you are, regardless of the stories you tell yourself, regardless of how you behaved when you were 16, 25, 35, 45, I don't care. We've all got stories about how we misbehave or how somebody misbehaved towards us. Put it down. Put it down. You don't need to carry around a cross to be spiritual or to be good or to be divine. You just have to own the fact, I am God in form and I am here to be a light in the world. And sometimes that is going to scare you to your core. And sometimes it's going to give you God bumps all over because you're going to think, wow, I chose to be here right now in this very moment. Every day, as West said in our circle in the morning, every day be grateful. I'm breathing. I'm standing upright. I get to look through my eyes and see another God-given day because I don't know what the opposite of that is. Ernest Holmes believes that our consciousness is ever expanding. And so if it's ever expanding, whatever is next is going to be fabulous. When we were babies and born, we didn't know what was going to happen. And yet we came in and there were people cheering and loving us. And maybe there were people on the other side crying, going, oh, we're going to miss that person. And yet I believe, as Ernest Holmes, when he talks about death, he says death is just a shedding of these clothes. That's all it is. And so if it's a shedding of this, then when I leave here, I hope you'll all cry and miss me. However, what I know is on the other side, there's going to be all those people so excited, or whatever they are. Maybe they're not people. All of those souls so excited to see me, to welcome me into the next realm. Because we are living spirit. And that never changes. The only thing that changes is form. So I have a practice that I'd like you to do. First of all, I'd really love it if you'd all join me for the month of December. It's 31 days. We're already on day 4. Post nothing. Ernest Holmes said, be for something and against nothing. And I will show you the next exalted one. I will show you the next Jesus who is walking this earth. 31 days, minus 4. Post nothing on Facebook that is against anything. Gratitudes. How much you love pictures of kittens and puppies. Puppies. Post good. Can you imagine? And if somebody tries to engage you in something, and they will, probably, because now I've put it out there and we know how powerful our word is, just bless them and don't respond. Or if it's abusive, then decide if you want to maintain the friendship. But it's an opportunity for us to set a different energy. And I can't think of a way to get that energy more worldwide, more quickly than on social media. That is the advantage of social media. It's the good and the downfall of it. So the practice is fairly simple. It's from a book called The Practicing Mind. Simple, small, short, slow is the title. And so small is, simple. Decide on something simple that you know that if you did it and did it every single day, your life would shift because you're doing something different, something simple. Like instead of saying, I'll never do gluten, I'll never do sugar, I'll never do dairy, I could decide for breakfast, I'm not going to do those 3 things. And just start there. Something simple. It could be, I am going to sit and be quiet for 5 minutes every day. Not in the morning, not in the noon, not in the evening, 5 minutes every day. I'm going to sit and be quiet because that's simple and I can do it. And if I forget, I can do it right before I go to bed. Because I don't know about you, I self-sabotage when I want to create something new in my life. Oh, I must meditate. It must be at 5 o'clock in the morning and it must be for a half hour. Oh, darn, it's 5:30. I missed. Maybe tomorrow. And I don't think I'm the only person that plays those games with myself. I'm unique, but I'm not that unique. And so are all of you, by the way, when I say that, in case you don't know. So what small, so simple, and I already kind of said this, but what small step will help you with that practice? So for me, if it's meditation, instead of saying there's a certain time and it's got to be a certain length, it's just deciding I'm going to meditate today for 5 minutes. Or maybe I'm just going to meditate today. There's a book out called The Simple Steps. I'm not going to remember, I'm sorry. But what he said is, if you want to exercise, and you have trouble, which I do, tell yourself, I'm going to do 1 push-up every day. 1. He said, once you're down there, you'll probably do more than 1 because 1 seems kind of silly. However, if you tell your mind you're only going to do 1, then your mind is like, oh, we could do that. She's not serious. 1? And so 1 of something instead of setting yourself up. And then so again, short period. Make it simple. Make it small. Make it for a short period. And then give yourself time to slow down. I don't know about any of you. However, my husband will say to me more often than not, Gail, just slow down a minute. And I'm much better than I used to be because I used to move at lightning speed and run into walls and doors and people and all kinds of things. So I'm better, and yet it's still a practice at slowing down and really sitting in the wonder of life. Because trees don't grow really fast. You know, we have decided the world needs to move fast and we need everything like that. Look at nature. Nature is a wonderful example on how we should live our life. So let's pray. And so falling back into that wondrous expression of the God. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty. Knowing that that living Spirit Almighty is me, is you. How could it not be? We are one and the same. We are that pitcher, we are that water. We are our breath, we are the wind. We are everything we think of ourselves, and yet we are so much more. And so we revel in this oneness. And as we revel in this oneness, I speak my word today specifically for Lori and her travels to Standing Rock. Because I know as part of this community, she carries us in her heart with her. I know how brave and how much courage it takes to stand up for injustice. And yet I know each and every one of us, because we are that light of the world, whether it be a small expression or a large expression, we are that expression of God standing up and saying, yes. Yes, we are of one family. Yes, we live on one planet. Yes, we are God-informed. We are the light of the world. And so it is in that yes that I gift to each and every soul right here and right now, knowing that you are seen, you are heard, and you are God-informed. And when you forget, I invite you to call me, to write me, to text me, to do whatever it takes to remind yourself. I am seen, I am heard, I am the light of the world. I am so grateful for this moment, this time, this space. Turning these words over into the law, I just say thank you, God, for this time, for knowing heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind, we are all connected. And as I feel that in the vibration of that love, I turn these words over, I let it go, I let it be, and together we say, and so it is.